Okay, welcome to part 2 for my countermeasures against harassment. Now then, I've already discussed several different other methods so far, but as I was saying, get the formula, which is orange slices, iodine, sea salt, baking soda, and the best method is to use alkaline water. And put this in a spray bottle. You can use regular water, but you got to understand that that water coming from the pipes is filled with toxins. So your best bet is using alkaline water, which has very, very little to almost no toxins at all. And even when you mix this together, whatever toxins that are in there gets taken out immediately, or at least somewhat killed off. Now, you mix that together in a spray bottle. You want to spray your entire home with that. From your clothes, as far as your blankets, you get to spray that all over your blanket, flip it over, then spray it over again. When it comes to your couches, open up the couch, pick up the couch cushions, spray underneath them, spray around them, spray the whole couch down, spray the floor down, spray the walls, spray the ceiling, everywhere. Because you got to understand, this stuff is I've seen what they do. They spray this type of fungus around your home, and this stuff grows. It grows everywhere. And it's because of what this stuff is that it helps them send off an RFID signal. So that stuff, you gotta, like, if you were to detox, what this stuff would do is that it would grow towards where you're at, and it would just reinfect you. That's how that stuff works. It would literally just grow and literally just attach itself to your skin from the outside, and then it would grow back on all the way to the inside of your self. Now, the dehumidifier, I told people to put some iodized sea salt in there. Put some iodized sea salt in there. Make sure you even have the filter mixed with it. Put that around there, and go ahead and make sure the water is saturated with both iodized sea salt and a little bit of baking soda as well, if you can, and turn that on. But whenever you come back, always change that out. Whenever you have to leave and come back, always change that out. Change that water out. You probably don't even have to do much with the filter, because like, that's gonna have the sea salt and all that stuff on it, the iodine and everything. So whatever they may have done to get that just kills it off automatically. But the water, I highly recommend you to change the water out every time for your own safety. As far as the other thing is concerned, let's see, because this is mostly on the basis for harassment and stuff is concerned. But as for your chargers, never always keep a main charger with you. Never leave your charger at home, because if you do, they will swap it out with one that has malware on it. Now then, as far as the references, as far as the stuff that they would say, that could also be used as that's something that could also be that they'll use as a form of harassment. They'll say a various phrase, but it'll be the exact same phrase being stated in multiple locations that you go to. Now, it's one thing that a person would say something, like say that once. It's one thing that a person would say that another different person would say the exact same thing in a different location. It's one thing if another person says it in a different location the third time. But if this is a constant thing everywhere you're going, you need to understand, plan the day out. Just randomly pick out multiple locations. Make sure you're off, by the way. You don't have to go to work. You have no important things to do. You just got plenty of time. Go to random locations with an audio recorder that is not attached to the online, and make sure you have a device that you can take video from, as far as stuff that they won't even be able to mess with the evidence. And record both, but be mindful of the laws. Be mindful of the laws as for where you're recording, as for where you're going. I honestly recommend to just go to several public places. Go to several public places. Go to places where you know for a fact people won't even be at. That's still in the public eye, but also to where it's not so many people around. You know? And when you do this, that prevents them from being able to use the actual public, the people who are not doing nothing to you, as a means of being able to hide. But even when they are in the public, there are still ways to actually expose them. And the best way to do this is exactly what I stated before in the last video. And it's simple. When they just let them perform their little street theater. Let them do that. And you most likely, the best thing for you to do is to hear them say something, because they gotta say something in order for it to trigger you. That's the whole point. It doesn't count if you can't see it. It doesn't count if you can't hear it. When they do this, let them do it for a bit, and then go ahead and let out a speech. Don't be afraid. Remember, you have the right of freedom of speech. You have that right. And when people start to understand what's going on, they'll start to realize that, yes, you are truly being harassed. Yes, you are being followed around by a large group of people, and they're going to end up wondering, like, what the fuck is going on? You know? Don't be afraid of these people. Don't let them intimidate you. Instead, if they set out a threat, ask yourself, did they say a threat a couple of days ago? Did they go through with it? Did it happen? Really ask yourself that. And not to mention, the one thing that they don't want to do is have it to where they don't have the perception of accountability. They don't want to be held accountable for this. So they're gonna say random crap. They're gonna say stuff like that to try to trigger you. They're gonna do that. They're gonna do that. But you got to understand, be careful of where you get your evidence, and also be mindful of where you're at. Remember, it's perfectly legal, even on private property, to record a conversation that you have with another individual. That's perfectly legal. But remember, if you're on private property, you can't record a conversation as what you're not involved, with a conversation you're not involved in. That's why I highly recommend you to go to public places and do this. Once again, now remember, the audio recorder, keep it in a secure location. It's not out in the open, and that's going to be towards your evidence. That shows that you just have it upon your person. It's not out there, meaning you're not intentionally pulling it somewhere to where you can snap someone's conversation. No, it's just in a secure location. It's not out there bugging nobody, and all of a sudden these phrases get uttered out, and it's the exact same phrase for different locations that you go to. Different locations that you go to, it's the exact same color being flashed towards your presence. One thing about the red and blue, from what I was told, I can't remember who it was that stated this, but they used the color red as a sign of blood sacrifice. They used the color blue as a sign for war. And let me tell you, they be flashing blue a lot towards me so far, but I don't even care. One thing I've learned is to one thing God definitely wanted everybody to know: thou shalt not fear no man. Thou shalt not fear no man. Remember those words. Now then, as far as the lights, you got to understand, there's stuff that these people will do that also is illegal, but they heavily rely on your ignorance. Get to know your traffic laws. Getting to know your traffic laws is one of the best tools you could use. If they tailgate you like that, you could use that against them. If they got one headlight on, you could use that against them. If they are causing a disturbance on the road, especially the highway, to try to get your attention from what's going on, you could use that against them, because that counts as a distraction, and they're not supposed to be doing that. They got no business doing that on the highway. They got no business doing that on the freeway, and it's considered a hazard, a safety hazard, a big one at that. There may be even times you can even catch these perps not even wearing a seatbelt, and you can report them for unpublic safety. The thing is, like, the law can be used against them, but you have to be familiar as to what it is that they're doing and what it is that you can use against them. A lot of my perps are really treading water when it comes to a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Some of them, but you also gotta understand that it's not just the fact that you can do this, but they can also do the exact same thing. So you need to be mindful of that. If a perp ever walks up to you and start trying to talk to you, understand they may have an audio recorder on their person. You know what? Now, what I normally do when a perp tries to get my attention, I ignore them. I fuck with them just the same way they try to fuck with me. Sometimes they'll even tap on my shoulder. You want to know what I do? I ignore them. And to piss them off even more, I even brush off my shoulder just to brush off the filth. I'm telling you, stuff like that really pisses them off. I even had one of them ask me, like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" And I'm like, I wanted to say, "You're fucking right, I'm serious," but I didn't respond. Okay, remember this was able, and remember this was doable in 1974. Steady tone near the high end of the hearing range, say 15 hertz. Hypnosis voice verifying from, say, 300 hertz to 4,000 hertz. MIC. Frequency modulator. Voice creators for. Now, this is something that could actually be proven, but if you don't have the evidence to prove it, you need to have everything that you could actually, you need to really, really put in the extra effort when it comes to this. If you're being beamed with frequencies, you need to have it set up to where you're walking and going to random locations, right? Random locations. Have the video focused on that meter at all times. It's best to even get a meter that that's not even online attachable. There is a meter. There is an EMF meter that can actually attach to your shoulder, your arm, and I need to find it. I'm gonna find it. When I do, I will post it in the video. What that thing does, it monitors and tracks the exposure rates of EMF energy that you're being exposed to, and it just records it automatically. I don't know if it records audio, but that's one good way of doing that. Now, what you can do is have a GoPro fixed to that, so that wherever you're going, that takes the audio down and it's focused on your arm. So it shows that not only are you walking around, but it's picking up those high levels of radiation that they're beaming on you. That's the kind of way that you want this done, because it shows that you're not. It actually proves that you're not just standing in somewhere and you're being, they could be saying, oh, well, like you're just standing somewhere near high that just has is most likely either leaking or producing high, amounts of radiation. No, you're walking around, you're mobile, you're not stationary, and it's still on you. That's what makes no sense. Let me tell you something. When I figured this out, it spooked the crap out of them so much that they had to turn this meter down to 1. Even to 0. It only went up to like 1 to 3. I've caught that evidence several different times, and I could use that against them for sure. The fact that I'm walking around and they had to cut it down that far. The fact that that happened shows that yes, something is going on. Something is definitely going on. You got to understand, this stuff is being used to manipulate you. And it's being used to manipulate everybody. Everyone is surrounded by cell towers. We're all exposed to this these chemtrails and these nano stuff that they are putting in the air that can literally reconstruct itself. We're all exposed to this. This stuff is triggered to literally counter and literally influence certain characteristics within the human mind and in the human body. Honestly, I got some amount of restraint against this, but like when I say they are literally desperate when it comes to this, I mean they are desperate when it comes to this this technology. It's not easy to counterbalance the influence. But the best thing to do is one of the things they hate for you to do is have multiple sounds playing at once. When you feel that your own will is being twisted into a certain aspect, my best recommendation to you is always have a radio playing on AM. because it seems like this thing's frequencies is constantly playing on FM. So if you have a frequency in the opposite perspective, I believe that shit poses some sort of countermeasure towards that. And remember what I said before, how you document where your stuff is and all that type of stuff. Now, here's another thing. As far as an alarm system is concerned, you could get that. They're going to F with it, no doubt. But you got to understand, that means that they have to mess with more and more things. So the fact that they would have to mess with something, the best place for you to get an alarm system would be in a compound. But in my case, what they did, and I got evidence, I even got the footage of them doing this. I got the audio showing that what they claimed that they were installing was a box. It's not a box. It's an unusual looking camera that's even has its stuff literally going directly into my unit. I got the evidence of them installing this. I even got the faces of the people who were around there too. And one of the stalkers even was stupid enough to signal some of the other people around the other side. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. So I made sure I got that evidence. As far as this, and the thing is, like, they think like when they start doing shit, I'm not gonna track it the fuck down. I'm gonna take evidence down, because first off, these bastards are out to literally sabotage, steal, and kill. And you think I'm just gonna sit there and take that shit? No. I will literally get every little bit of evidence to use against you. I will stop you in your tracks. I will literally find whatever type of means necessary to literally expose you for the corrupt bastards that you are. This stuff, man, is being used to force people to commit crime. It's being used to steal away freedom from the people without even having a consent. And most of these people don't even. Most people who are just regular bystanders, or even criminals too, don't even realize that. Some of them have literally just infatuated the behavior of this so much that they counter it as their own. For those people, I'm afraid they're too far lost. They may be too far gone to even bring back. But I want to point out again, what this technology does, it has high ends of manipulation. And this is something everybody is exposed to. When it comes to this technology, when it comes to a lot of atrocities that's happened in the past few years, you want to know who I'm blaming? Not the people, not the victims involved, not the perpetrators involved, but the people who influenced this in the first place. The bastards who influenced it in the first place through this technology that they're exposing people to the media that they're paying off, to the advertisement agencies that they pay off to advertise this stuff that we're submitted to on a daily basis. The lust, the hate, the violence. To the educational services that they pay off to literally keep us in a state of lack of knowledge. From the news broadcast that they pay off. I blame the fucking oppressor who literally is constructing this stuff to destroy everybody, even to manipulate and use people as puppets to destroy others. That's who I'm blaming. People who have fully become lost. Honestly, I don't even allow myself. One thing I've learned is to not allow myself not to hate, because that's one of the things that they want you to do. They want you to hate. And you know something? I actually tricked them one time to actually see what they would do. Now, this is going to sound a bit unorthodox, but what I did was I kind of like growled a bit in an aggressive manner, not towards nobody. I was in a random location on my own. I growled a bit, right? I growled. And funny thing, they fucking was trying to raise my aggression levels. And as soon as they were doing that crap, they sent I ended up going into one location, and I was minding my own business, by the way. And they sent a female in front of me out of nowhere, right? And they just told her, just stand right there. Just get in his way and just stand right there. And I was amazed at this shit. Like, these are some really low down bastards. They actually have no shame. They have absolutely no shame. I've seen nappy-headed Roots video of this woman who had like severe injuries on her. Right? She had a blacked out eye. She had lumps all over the place on her face. They had that woman receive several real injuries for money. For money, just to try to get someone put in jail. Explain to me how does an organization like that want justice? I'll tell you what justice is. Stop the vape trails. You want real justice? Stop the vape trails. Stop paying off the media hiding information from the public. Stop lying. Stop trying to control people. Stop doing that stuff. You want to know something? I always ask myself, whatever happened to the hippies, you know? Remember back when the hippies were all out in the dozens and times were peaceful back then? Whatever happened to that? It was nothing but you have a whole horde. You would have a whole horde of them, whole horde of hippies doing nothing but smoking marijuana, just chilling out, not bothering nobody. Now, violence everywhere, man. Violence everywhere. Crazy. But as far as as far as this stuff is concerned, I think they do something. I remember reading something about how they F with the electrical cording in your home. And what this does is it actually produces large amounts of radiation from the inside. I don't know how that is exactly, because I'm not an electrician. Although I wish I fucking was, if that information is accurate. And hang on, yeah, I got a police scanner there, just checking the time and the date and whatnot. But I kind of wish I was an electrician, because if I was, then I'll be able to have more a hands-on approach on that. But I'm telling you, if you are an electrician, keep an eye out for that, because I did do the research, and they can't have it to where certain parts of electrical units are exposed to where it does produce high levels of radiation, as well as you being beamed with the cell towers. And if you're living in a motel and they're doing like an apartment or something, a complex, and they're doing that, and you find that, you could actually sue the shit out of them for that. Because first off, you know for a fact you didn't do it, and you've already you already made the report. You got to do documentation for this. Every bit of evidence counts. Every bit of evidence counts. And not just the evidence itself, but detail. Take detail. Take the time. Take the date. Take the exact thing that happened, and what exactly where it was and where it went, where what got moved, what got pushed, what got taken away. Document that. As far as your receipts are concerned, as far as whatever you buy, take pictures of that with the phone that you are keeping offline. Keep all those records on SD cards, so when something gets stolen, you have 100% of a doubt in the fact that that particular item belonged to you. You got the receipt in hand, you got the item that was purchased, and you got your face along with it. Take documentation that can be used 100% of a doubt, without a doubt. I actually want to find some TEIs as far as like certain networks are concerned, because as you can tell, like I was playing on the Switch for a bit. I'm gonna start adding TEIs on there eventually, as far as some other accounts as well. But let's continue. Like electromagnetic brain blaster, table of contents. Yeah, that's just that. Now this fucking thing right here, that cube, Whenever when I told y'all they deleted the footage that I had about what the bus drivers were doing. That's the fucking thing that he put on the back of the bus. That black cube right there. That's exactly what he put on the back of the bus where the engine was. And I literally was filming the entire incident too. I caught his ass putting that in there, and he ends up going over to the front of the bus, conversating with another bus driver, and the funny thing, they ended up communicating with the bastards who told them to do this. And as soon as I end up going up to him, asking him like, excuse me, what's going on? He's like, we gotta switch the buses out. So what they were about to do, they were about to switch the buses out, right? And then they were just gonna put it on another bus, or maybe not even. They probably were gonna switch the buses out, but they were gonna still have it on that bus. And what they were gonna do is try to have me ride that bus that had that shit on it. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I wasn't jumping on that bus. And if you don't know what that is, that's a transceiver device. That's a transceiver device for frequencies. I read up on a TI's situation where they were on a Greyhound. They had the exact same shit. They put that same cube on that bus, and they were blasting the crap out of that TI with radiation. It was so bad. It was so bad that it actually fucked up the signals for the Wi-Fi. That's how bad it was. It effed up the signals for the Wi-Fi, and they went as far as to even hack everybody's phones on there. And they couldn't figure out, the people who were just regular travelers couldn't even figure out what the heck was going on. And the victim ended up, the victim TI ended up pointing to the perpetrators who were doing it. It was so crazy that they ended up hiding their faces and shit as they got off on the next stop. I want to find that TI who mentioned that. That's why I encourage every other TI start using your channels to introduce other TIs. Do that, but be mindful of the content that they produce. Take your time and at least look at that so you can actually be able to make more of a web of awareness. And that's what I'm doing with this channel here. I'm actually boosting up awareness along with the subscribers that I gather, and allowing them to actually be able to see and hear other TIs out there. When that happens, they're able to actually communicate with the subscribers on their channels and be able to decipher who really is a TI and who really is a perpetrator. It really helps that out for that cycle of awareness. But I'm probably gonna end this video here. I send both my prayers, my love, and all that to TIs out there. It's not easy fighting this. It's not. Considering that your own will is being bent towards your own, being constantly trying to bend against you like that, it's not easy. My honest recommendation, if you ain't got nothing really to do and you're just relaxing at home, have several things playing. Have a radio playing on the AM. Have a TV playing as well. The radio don't even have to be loud. Just enough where you can hear it a little bit. That's all you need. As far as anything else, you could have like some music playing at a low pitched tone as well. Have that, and that'll interfere with a lot of their shit. They start doing the street harassment, the noise harassment. Document it. Document it. That's your evidence. And remember, if there's any thought at deleting any of that evidence, that thought is not yours. It's not yours, but they will want you to believe that it is. Every bit of evidence counts. This is MM's TI Strategy Guide. I'm over and out.